Ah, harsh. So, there was a UFO seen over the Olympic opening game ceremony, which is interesting. I just recently watched a video of it. Nice little, just a tiny little UFO. It could have been a blimp. It could have been not a plane because of like just the regular motions of it. It could have been a disguised helicopter, but it didn't look like a helicopter at all, so hence disguised. It could have just been a UFO. It's interesting that it should visit the Olympics on the opening ceremony night. What is also interesting is David Cameron, the Prime Minister of Britain, I guess it is, 2 weeks prior to this incident was briefed by the head military on UFO disclosure because he had some questions regarding that. I was like, when are you supposed to stop believing in coincidences? When do you start seeing a pattern, a plan, things lining up? It's no longer, it's like, oh, what a coincidence. He was being briefed about UFO disclosure 2 weeks prior to the Olympic ceremony in which a UFO was seen by probably literally millions of people by now. And you're like, just things that make you go, Interestingly enough, we went to the drive-in last night and we watched Batman, the new Batman movie. Really cool movie. God, that movie's long. It's ridiculous. What was the whole movie about? Well, it's kind of like pegging the Occupy protests, if they actually had been, say, successful. Terrorism, nuclear terrorism, and a plot by American citizens to detonate a nuclear bomb on American soil. And that was what I got out of the movie, interestingly enough. So there was terrorism, there was fear-mongering, there was more terrorism, there was more fear-mongering, and apparently the 2011 NFL, there was supposed to be, at the Super Bowl, a terrorist attack. A man named David Chase Tyler. Now apparently disclosed, he told everyone about this, spread the word enough, and it was supposed to be a state-sponsored terrorist attack on the NFL, supposedly. Now there's I haven't looked into the amount of evidence because resource limited for time, but David Chase Taylor, he said there was going to be a attack on the 2011 NFL games, the Super Bowl, and he talked to thousands of people. He's like the WikiLeaks creator, David or whatever his name, Assange. He's like him. He's applying for citizenship or protection in the Swiss from the Swiss, so that the U.S. can't get him. So he will be safe, protected. They're trying to get him back into the States, so he'll disappear, things like that. It makes you wonder, like, why are they going so hard to try and get this guy back? Why is he trying so hard to get away? And like, why is this being so difficult? Maybe he was right. Maybe there was supposed to be a state-sponsored terrorist attack on the Super Bowl. Now, what's interesting is I heard that and I was like, oh, well, that could have been, could have not been. Like, I believe probably that the states would try to kill their own people with a nuclear bomb. They've been doing, hundreds I think there's like 60 documented incidents of them testing things on their own people, whether it be chemical, biological, whatever, testing on their own citizens. American citizens, yeah, you've probably been involved at some point in your life or your family's life in a sick American test on you for whatever purpose. Now, there was like a whack of recorded incidents. How many of those gone undetected? Now, I watched the Batman movie, and interestingly enough, I seen a terrorist attack at what looked like to be the Super Bowl. Could have been, anyway. So that kind of just got, a little bit worrying with me. It's like, alright, okay, interesting. Now, what's the big thing on the agenda in the world news? Terrorist attack by, you got it, nuclear arm. What's Iran trying to get? Apparently they're trying to get nuclear bombs. And so a terrorist attack with a nuclear weapon is kind of like the fear right now. So the new Batman movie, what is Bane, who is simply a hired mercenary, so he's like a terrorist because he's got, political gains or whatever, he's got, motivation behind his crimes. He has a nuclear bomb. And what is he going to do? He's going to blow up a city. Interesting enough. Now, what was also cool I've seen is he had the whole, I'm going to give the city hope, feed them hope, and then bring them down, and then feed them more hope, and then crush them, and then feed them hope, and crush them. And I'm like, and that's kind of like what we're going through right now on the worldview. It's like, if you could go back far enough, I was pretty young back then, but like 2000. So, there was, what was his name? The one guy that had WMDs in the Middle East. Can't remember, Obama's like, he's got WMDs, I can feel it in my heart that he's got weapons of mass destruction. We've got to stop him. Saddam Hussein, that was it. And then, and then everyone's like, yeah, we gotta stop them, we gotta prevent them from blowing stuff up. And then they go over there, don't find any weapons of mass destruction. Oh, and then they're a little bit let down. And then now it's like, we have to protect the world, because Iran could be getting a nuclear bomb. It's like, okay, yeah, let's go stop them, let's go get them, yeah, and then we're gonna be let down. Kind of things like that. Those are just two very large and far apart examples, but there is a lot in between going on. Can't think of any to list at the time. Sorry, it's really early in the morning. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday. Just had some coffee, but I really wanted to just talk to you guys about this because just coincidences don't exist to me anymore. So, the Batman movie, I think it's about portraying fear. It's about portraying terrorism. And it's conditioning. Because, if you see something enough times when it actually, in, say, movies, when it actually happens, you don't panic as much. Interestingly enough, where's the best place that you're going to learn how to do something in an emergency? Like, say, there's a fire in your building, or there's an explosion, or something like that. The best place that you're going to find information on what to do in that particular event is watching movies. Because if you watch movies, now suddenly your mind kind of just saves and records that information. What did the hero do in the fire? What did the hero do in the explosion? And then you might end up actually going through with those motions, like, oh, okay, I got to do this because I've seen it in a movie once. Interesting. That's the amazing part of the human mind, and same with like muscle memory, and like just our memory of what we can remember of what we've seen and then put that into action. It's pretty cool. But on the downside of that could also be used as control, because you show somebody something enough times, now suddenly they might end up actually going through with it. It's kind of supporting the whole like violent video games and TV create violent people, but it's more of in case of an extreme emergency. So the new Batman movie, have you seen it? I want to know your thoughts on it. Do you think it was simply fear-mongering, propaganda, and potentially, not necessarily, but encouraging terrorism? Peace, guys.